Coming up in this episode, an extreme act of torch abuse in the first degree with aggravation. Also, you can see what happens when a perfectly serviceable brand new Olight Warrior Ultra is frozen solid, smashed free, drop tested beyond the limit of its drop test rating 50 or 60 times, and then driven over by a 4x4, which did kill it, but only temporarily because it got resurrected, kind of like Jesus, only now it's more or less zombified, like partly functional, but not the torch it once was. It certainly does look a little secondhand, doesn't it, for something that's only a couple of days old now and was preserved in the freezer for 72 hours. So not very much second law of thermodynamics entropy thingo happened to it in the freezer. That was all me earlier today. This thing is half rooted, as we say in engineering, but you can see still quite bright, and even tactical strobe works, dude. Like, come on, if you're halfway through the zombie apocalypse, it's still a bit of an asset. Like, take that, undead fiend, kind of thing. So let me start at the beginning. Olight is having a 9th birthday sale, which kicks off at 8 p.m. tonight. I'll have full details in the description. Olight's 9th birthday is quite the big to-do for Olight, but somewhat less relevant to us. And they said, what do you want to do for our birthday sale? And I said, give me one of these and let me abuse the crap out of it to prove to unbelievers everywhere just how tough these things are. I mean, they are incredible. If there is a zombie apocalypse, this is the torch I want. It is the Olight Warrior Ultra. Now, Olight's got this range of torches that they call Ultra, which, as the name implies, is the top of each one of their model ranges. And they're exemplified by greater brightness, greater toughness. They're made out of this material, which they call OAL for Olight Aluminium. It's better than the 6061 that most of their other models are made from. In some respects, it's as strong as titanium kind of thing. They've got the details on their website if you're a material science nerd and you want to look that up. But for me, I don't want to recommend Temu torch to anyone, because if you're Jack Bowering the shit out of it in your life, and the fate of democracy rests on you being able to see what you're doing right here and right now, I don't want to be some influencer in a spandex miniskirt, no one needs that, recommending Temu torch. And I've been in bed sleeping enthusiastically with Olight for donkey's years now, and it's because their torches are freaking awesome. And if you've been using a Temu torch, you won't believe how good an actual Olight is. And these things are the top of the range. Torch abuse in just a sec, but let me run through what you're looking at here. This is a little jigger called the iUltra. Now, it's a keyring kind of torch. You plug it into any USB-C port, and it's not a bad place to leave it if it's not on your keyring. And then you withdraw it, instant torch. On or off is just, if it's in your hand, it's on. If it's in the receptacle, it's off. And this is like the best torch you can have, because in some situations, the best torch you can have is the one that you have at hand, right? So if this is sitting in the USB-C port in your car, it takes up nearly no room. Something goes wrong. That is 1,000 times better than no torch, I would argue. Now, let's just move up a little bit from there. Let's talk about the O-Clip Ultra. This thing is super versatile because it's a clip. You can wear it in your shirt or on the strap of your backpack. It's got red light. It's got all these different modes, right? You can look that up on the website, but this thing is super versatile. Magnet, so you can stick it under the bonnet of the car and illuminate whatever, or you can use it standing like that to change a tire in the middle of the night in the boonies, blah blah blah. Very versatile like this. You can lock it out. You just press and hold the on-off button for a couple of seconds and it locks it. This thing is so versatile that I put it in module 1 of my tool to go EDC kind of thing. It just sits there it waits for some command. It's just ready to rip, dude. So versatile, and you can depend on it, which is what EDC kind of toolkits are all about. Next one up, let's talk about the Baton Pro, because if you want a conventional round form factor torch, this thing is hard to beat. It's got all of those Olight Ultra features, tail switch on the back so that, you know, if you need to get your torch out and use it in a hurry, and it's a stressful situation because you've got to do something quickly or up a ladder, whatever, then your thumb can always find the tail switch and boom, you've got light. And then if you want to do finer work and you have the time to think about it, then you've got the side switch here. Got a decent pocket clip. It's a very nice torch to use if you want that conventional form factor. However, what I use is this baby here. This is called an Arc Pro, okay? An Arc Pro Ultra. They sent me one to show you, and it's been specially laser engraved for Australia. You can see right there, hopefully, that there is a couple of kangaroos and part of the map of our great busted ass shithole there, laser etched onto the body of the torch. One kangaroo still standing and one obviously been hit by a large 4x4 with a bull bar, but who's counting kind of thing. So that's oi, oi, oi in my book. The thing I really like about this is the multi-modality of it, how easy it is to carry in your pocket because it's so nice and slim, dude. So you don't need the special cable either because it's got a USB-C port here and it's got all these different modes. You've got your floodlight mode and you've got your spotlight mode and you've got, let's see if I can just invoke that now, you've got your laser pointer. So if you're a vitally important sales rep or something, then that's great. But also, if you're down here on the ground and some tradie's up a ladder and you want to say, hey dude, just put the hole exactly there. That's much easier than negotiating, isn't it? You can just go, there it is, dude. And you can have the laser with the other light modes on. It's got UV as well if you're a vet and you use fluorescein and you like to see whether the eye of some animal has an ulcer in it or not on the cornea. This would be an asset for that also. But this is my EDC. I carry one of these in the pocket every day. It has never let me down. They're freaking awesome. Now, if there's a zombie apocalypse, the Olight Warrior Ultra, preferably not the one I've abused, but a brand new one like this without 1,000 scars all over it and premature age and decay and degradation, this thing is freaking awesome, dude, because boom, tons of light. I think it's 2,500 lumens. It's freaking amazing. They've done a great job with the CNC milling of the barrel. Like it would be impossible to drop no matter how wet it gets kind of thing. It's IPX8, so it's waterproof and drop tested to 2 meters, but that is conservative, let me tell you, having just, we'll get to that. That was an awesome, fun exercise. It's just moments away. And then finally, for the outdoor adventuring set, you've got your Seeker Ultra. Your Seeker Ultra has all these LEDs in the guts of it here, if I can. Pro tip, okay, when you get your Olight for the very first time and you pull it out of the box and you hit the go button and no photons come out the business end, it's probably because you didn't read the yellow card which advises you to take this thing out, which basically isolates the battery in transit. So remove that, stick it on charge, and then Bob is mommy's brother. So here we go. There you go. That's pretty bright. If I was an outdoor adventuring type, some beard stroker on the way to Dingo Piss Creek, then I'd want a torch like that because it would really last the distance. Probably better than some Hilux Moulin Rouge or something of that nature. You'll probably have the torch after you've been through 3 different utes. So there's that. It's got a great belt clip as well. Polymer jobby, which is just really good for retention. And pro tip, once you stick that on, you get the USB-C charging in addition to the standard Olight magnetic charging. So that's kind of versatile as well. Now, this conversation I had with my friends at Olight, I said, look, the birthday thing, yeah, okay, 9th birthday, congratulations, blah, 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 but the audience probably doesn't care about that as much as you do. They'd rather see me abuse the shit out of a torch such as this to demonstrate how it would be unlikely for someone like you to commit this much abuse foreseeably. So here's the basic process. I get the Warrior Ultra out of the box and I stick it on the charger and charge it up, and then I take it upstairs and stick it in a Tupperware container and freeze the crap out of it. So it's frozen solid in a block of ice for 72 hours. And if that's not enough, I just whip it downstairs, take the container out of it, block of ice, smash it free like some freaking woolly mammoth or something that some archaeologist found. And that, I would argue, is not a terrible advertisement at all for thermal endurance and overall robustness. This baby's been frozen for a couple of days now and worked absolutely first crack with the ice still frickin' stuck to it. And then I subject it to a series of drop tests. Now with the Warrior Ultra, Olight has increased the drop test rating from 1.5 metres to 2 metres. And then I thought, let's be fair about this, because I used to work in a destructive testing laboratory, and the conclusion I've drawn from that is that anyone can break anything, but making it meaningful is the real challenge. It is good fun breaking stuff, though, I have to say. So anyway, I thought the main way I would ever drop a torch is off a bench or off the tailgate of the ute or something of that nature. And they tend to be about 900 to a metre high. So that's what I did first. I gave it 10 basic drops like that with half the impact energy, because half the height, half the gravitational potential energy, blah, blah, blah. 10 of those, no problem. Working like a freaking charm, dude. So I go up to about 1.73 metres, which is the top of the ladder. So we're just inside the drop test rating here. So that's pretty conservative and safe. Another 10 drops like that, piece of cake, okay? Torch, perfectly functional, starting to look like it's been dropped a bit though. Like the surface coating is showing a few scars, but the functionality, 13 out of 10. So I thought, okay, let's pretend the drop rating does not exist. So let's give it some really high drops. Let's throw it up in the air about 3 metres or so, 3.5, something like that. And we'll do 10 of them and just see if it survives. And guess what, dude? It survives. Perfectly frickin' functional. And then I thought, well, I'm sucking on a dry tank of abuse here and I can't let the torch live. So what are we going to do? What we're going to do is stick it under the wheel of the ute and drive over it, because that's something you might do in the field also. And I have to say, driving over it, probably a bad idea, because although the torch itself is overwhelmingly durable in that context, if it goes switched down onto the concrete and if a bit of aggregate presses hard up against the switch on the barrel, that wreaks havoc with its functionality. In fact, you can see there, I can't see it, obviously I roll over it once and that busts the switch, and then I roll over it again, it throws it down the track a little bit, and then I get out and see if it works, and it doesn't work. So there's that. So I thought, let us not be tremendously defeated about this. It could just be a near-death experience. So I spent, I don't know, the best part of 15 minutes tapping, lubing, scraping, whatever, trying to persuade the switch to come back out of its permanently new recessed position. And I did that with some success, but only after pulling it free with one of those O-ring removal tools that looks kind of like a scriber, only got a little bit too close to a blast furnace kind of thing. So that was quite okay, and then it started to function more or less, and I thought, I can't just let this be the end of the story. Like, obviously the pocket clip is probably not going to be that much use anymore. It's not going to be that waterproof because there's a hole in the center of the switch now, and that's going to limit its ingress protection somewhat. But I thought we'll give it another 20 or 30 big fat drops. So we went back to 1.73 meters, did 10 of those, survived no problem, but needed a tweak with the seal puller, O-ring puller, whatever. And that worked out okay. And then I gave it another, I don't know, 15 or so big drops, like from high up with twist and pike. And That's when the torch got properly zombified. So presently, the LEDs still work. You can see the LEDs that show the brightness, the battery state and the brightness setting. They still kind of work. They're more or less interpretable. The switch itself does not work anymore on the barrel, but the tail switch works kinda. We've got bright mode. We've got bright mode, no problem, repeatably every time with the tail switch. And we've got tactical strobe, you know, in case you're in the Matrix and agents attack or whatever. In case there is a zombie apocalypse, they hate strobe lights. Mila Jovovich was telling me that the other day. Anyway, so that's basically the limit of its functionality now. We've got real bright and tactical strobe, and that's it. But you can see that the proximity switch, oops-a-daisy, the proximity switch has not been killed. It's still working. The proximity switch just stops you burning the crap out of something inside your bag if the torch is activated in your bag. Like, that's pretty clever. Most of the functionality is still built in here, and I'm quite convinced that with a little bit of repair action and some spare parts, you could probably get it back to 100%. But hey, who has time? The point of this exercise was to get it to the point where let's see what constitutes failure for a torch such as this. And what we're at now is a point of zombification for the frickin' torch. You know, like it's working kinda. Your average Warrior Ultra, even used brutally in the field, would not experience anything like this level of abject abuse. And you have to remember, it's not the 1,000 drops that kind of zombified it. It was parking the corner of a 2.2 ton vehicle on it and spitting it out. So to me, that just says these things are properly tough. And if you've got, you know, half an ounce of frickin' mechanical sympathy, you will not do something like this to it. Like, look at it. This is an advertisement for abuse. I'm frankly amazed that this thing is functional at all after that amount of abuse. So Olight, 13 points out of a possible 10. I am going to retain this for spare parts, like the battery might come in handy and the O-ring that seals the tail kind of thing. Not that I've ever needed spares like that. Maybe that's just me being a hoarder. Let me know in the comments. Anywho, Olight Ultra, 2 thumbs up. This kind of stuff is why I recommend Olight, because if you are in that Jack Bauer-esque position one day and you just need your torch to function, and you have to kind of give it a bit of abuse, you don't have to worry about it giving up the ghost early, because the evidence is in. These things are properly tough. Links in the description to all of these. Big discounts for the next few days. And my work here is done. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.